So now, at that mentality, I just wanted to say that I know we've all dealt with death, and death to me is my personal Achilles heel. I don't deal with death well at all. I'll get it started. I know we all got a story, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with mine. My dad died when I was 11 years old, and the worst part of it for me was that and death. And I want to bring this up because I want more people to talk about it and talk about these issues. And next week we're going to have a mental health specialist that we can discuss that this did. But for me, that's my thing. My dad died when I was 11, and I talked to him that morning. We had a full blown conversation. This is my dad. We had a great relationship. He was an excellent father. So I didn't have the pre notions of anything wrong or anything's going on or things crazy, this, that, and the other. I talked to him that morning. I went to school. 2 hours later, I'm getting picked up from school, and they are trying to convince me that my dad was dead. And it really affected me for a very long time. Because once when you're 11, first of all, when you're 11 years old, I don't feel like you can really process it. And for the longest time, I always thought my dad was coming back. One day he'll just show up. You know what I'm saying? And it took me to probably, I mean, when I was 18 and I was playing football and I had this parent day, and I was like, this is the day that if my dad is still alive, he would come to. And nobody came. And then I also remember my graduation where I say, this is the day, if my dad was still alive, he would come to. And my mom did come, but it was a very difficult point. And it took me to the point where I had my children where I realized that he was never coming back. I was never going to see him again. And that was tough. It was so tough for me. And after that, my mom passed away. That was tough. But my dad was the longest. That was the number one for me. And I don't deal with death. I don't like funeral. I don't go to a funeral. I've only been to, since my dad and my mom passed away, I've only been to one funeral. One. And that's it. That's it. No matter who it was. And I only went because that woman meant a lot to me, and that was Vance's mom. That's the only funeral I've ever been to since both of my parents passed away. I've never been to two, sorry. I've been to another one. My wife's brother passed away, who was like a brother to me. I went to his, but that I did go to his, and I'm not going to say of course, I had to go, but he was a brother to me. Those two. That was tough too. But I was there. I had to be a support person. I couldn't be upset. I had to sit there and take care of my wife and her. You know what I'm saying? But I went to Vance's mom. She was like another mother to me, and then that was it. But those are the only two. I don't do them. I can't. And I tell people, even when my mom passed away, and I invited people to my mom's funeral, I told them, if you come to my mom's funeral, doesn't mean I'm coming to your parents' funeral. Doesn't mean I'm coming to any of your funerals. Doesn't mean I can't do it. I'm not, if you want to come, but I can't do it. I'm not the right person you want here. Luckily, I've been blessed and this, that, and other, and I've made it through that. But it has always been a struggle for me. So I wanted to have this discussion and just see what do you think? What is your event, or have you had an incident with death that changed your life, or you feel different, or how do you feel? What do you think? So, anybody wants to go next? You can just pick.
I think the hardest death I dealt with was my mother. I think, unfortunately, I was able to you know what I'm saying, watch my mother. My mother died from breast cancer. I saw the transition in before death, you know what I'm saying, up to her death. And I think a couple different things. It helped me be able to deal with when she actually passed, going through that transition of, you know what I'm saying, the chemo getting sicker and sicker until she's unhealthy. It made when she actually passed, it made it a little bit easier. I think that everybody mourns differently. Me as a person, it took probably about, I'd say 2 or 3 years for me to cry over that. And part of that was because of the preparation, because of what I saw her going through before she died. I made a lot of mistakes in those years too. You know what I mean? That probably didn't have me kind of thinking. I probably thought I was thinking straight, but it was a lot of just different decisions that I wouldn't have made had I been, you know what I'm saying, not internally like processing my mom's passing. So that was probably the toughest one that I've dealt with. I deal with death pretty, I deal with death pretty well, I think, just because I do believe in Christ, so I do believe that you'll see him again. But I can't understand how everybody has just their different ways of handling it, because sometimes when you lose people, when you lose them and how you lose them, I think impacts your reaction to death. Me and my mom were really close. Rodney can attest to that. And it's like losing her was tough for me. So still is to a certain extent to this day.
All right, I do want to go back to something you said. I'm gonna let everybody go, but I do want to go back to that because I'll wait. But okay, Beezy, you want to go next?
Yeah. Honestly, like the mental health thing that we do at the beginning is I lost a friend and an uncle to mental health. So people that you would never expect, the most outgoing people, that the ones that don't, that, you know, not to put anybody down. You see some people that are like really upset. You're like, man, they look miserable. But these people were like, man, these people are on top of the world, and they commit suicide. You never know. But yeah, I don't do that. I don't go to viewings. I've been to one viewing and I couldn't even get within 200 feet of seeing that person. So yeah, I lost a lot of good friends, and I probably look like an asshole not going, but I can't do it. I don't do it well at all.
Okay, hey, I can't.
That's just how you deal with it, Albert.
But just give me a little bit more. So you're saying you had 2 friends commit suicide?
Yeah, an uncle and a friend. Actually, the friend tried to commit suicide, ended up living through it, and then died of overdose, but got through it. Was never right after that point. And then my uncle, no one ever knew. My I guess step aunt it would have been, or went into the kitchen and then came back, and he had taken all his pills and died on the couch while she was in the kitchen. But yeah, never would have guessed.
So how do you feel you're over it, or do you feel how long? You feel that? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it could have. The one that my friend that tried to commit suicide, he called me randomly. I haven't talked to him in years. Ever since I had kids, I kind of grew away from all my friends, not just a certain group. But this was a dude's house that his parents they would go out of town, and Friday and Saturdays we just go over there and cook all day, like 10 people. So we were there every weekend, just grilling and having a good time through high school, outside of high school, until I had my kids. And then I was randomly I think my son was like 6. He hit me up, and then I didn't answer. I was just too busy with my kids. And then 2-3 days later, I got a message saying that he shot himself. Yeah. So that was rough. But then finding out a couple years later, after everybody got back with him, talking to him, and then no one really knew that he started messing around with drugs and died of overdose. Yeah. So yeah. It definitely, like I said, the mental health thing is big. People die of natural causes. It still hurts just as much, but not wondering if you could have helped. Yeah.
If you, especially if you missed the phone call, you think about the phone calls you missed, or this, that, and that messages that happened. Just like maybe if I, that you can't, but you can't take that on yourself, man. Tough. No, it's a tough conversation. That's tough.
It's tough. Yeah.
Tough conversation. All right, so producer, what's up? What's up with you? You got any Everett? You got something for us? Because I know you. Go ahead. Tell your story too, man. Because death affects everybody, but we don't talk about it. So I just want you to tell your story as well.
Yes. No, my family, especially the one that live in predominantly in my house, right? It's always been kind of like this tight knit love that we had, right? Of course, have your cousins and your uncles and your nephews and whoever else. I was raised by two wonderful women, two wonderful males who just taught me how to do everything, right? Unfortunately, in that group, only one person is still around, that's my mom. I was able to get my sister before my dad left in 01. But yeah, so I bring up the tight knit group because, these guys taught me everything I know. Like, for instance, the one who just passed last month, was my brother. And the only reason why I'm in this room talking to you guys right now is because he taught me how to do the podcast thing. He taught me how to do social media. He taught me how to do marketing. He taught me how to network and talk to people and go outside your comfort zone to get the thing you want. Get real personal. My brother, how can I put this? I grew up in a family full of men who appeared to be alphas but weren't, right? They all had the stigma of this is what a man is, this is how you grow up, this is what you do. Unfortunately, maybe putting words in their mouths, but doing drugs and going to jail and having a whole bunch of women who had your kids and losing your virginity at this age, and those type of stigmatisms were all passed down on to me. And the only person I ever wanted to be like was the 6'4" gay man who grew up with me my entire life, right? And the lesson that he taught me outside of what not genuine, but like what appeared to be manly were just huge, right? Because taking care of your family is the thing that make you the man the most to me, right? There's no other step, there's no other requirement of man besides this is my tribe, this is what I take care of, this is what I do to make sure that they eat and breathe and drink and live there every day. And I make sure you guys are all right. All that stuff got passed down to me from him. Unfortunately, in 2019, he got diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. 2020, we had the pandemic, of course. He was in Mount Sinai Hospital for the entire pandemic. He would not let him out. No, he wasn't just to be out, but my brother was just in the hospital dealing with his cancer while this virus was killing a million people in this country is going wild. And then he had fluid in the brain, which affected his ability to talk and walk. And eventually that was, the fight was too big for him, I would say. passed away. But I say all that to say, like, throughout all that, he'll have these conversations with me privately. And of course, he's emotional. He's crying. He's scared. He's trying to figure out what's what's next. He's never been this before. We dealt with this with my grandmother and her dementia, my father and her and his drug use, friends and suicide, wherever else. But it's now his turn to look death in the face. With me, he's crying. Me, he's telling me how scary it is. And from my other family, strongest face you can see. No matter what, I'll be all right. But I don't want you guys, you're not going to look at me cry, so you guys don't worry. That's the kind of person he was. When he passed, we dealt with my father passing, my grandmother passing, my uncle passing. There was no other passing. It was like the monarch leaving. The king has been dethroned, and now we're looking for the new person to lead us. And unfortunately, just like how when my father passed, I had to become a father to my sister at the age of 11. I became the leader of my family without any prep or discussion or like yours now.
It's like World War II.
Yeah.
You're the lieutenant, and then the colonel dies, and that's
exactly.
You don't even know what just happened. You like, hold on, yo, I didn't know none of that.
Yeah. And now all this weight that wasn't on me is now on me. And it's whoa, you know what I mean? Oh, this is everything that he did, and he wouldn't even talk about. I didn't know no idea that we didn't have enough money to pay the mortgage at one point. I had no idea that the reason why we got our old house is because he gave my mother like half of his student loan money, his student loan check. You know what I mean? I like things that are being revealed to me after his passing, and the thing that just aren't taught is whoa. Like I had no idea that your foot was so deep in this mud that you are basically a post here now. And now you've been uplifted. Now there's this big hole in the ground and nobody knows what to do now because the foundation is falling. But you know that every lesson that he taught me led me to where we're at now. Like I said, to fight for what you want, to not take no for answers, no matter who you're in front of, what you want to do. But it's not negotiable. You gotta go get it. My brother would make $100,000 on his couch doing marketing, not going to an office. He would go on vacation and work. No, he said, if I'm going to work, I'm going to be in front of this beach. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be in the office. I'm not going to slave 8 hours a day for somebody else to get rich off me, and I'm not going to get nothing. You know what I mean? With everything that I'm building now, is it based off the back of and the insight of him. And the one thing I look at it as is, wow, I really wish he was here so he could do this with me. But I can not let the fact that he's not here stop me from doing it. And that's where I'm at now. And that's how it affected me. It took me about a good year. I had to take the last year off, basically. I wasn't going to any parties. I wasn't hanging out. I wasn't planning on doing much, but it really was able to put me in a position where I'm more comfortable and more open, even speaking about it. Because we did this podcast August last year. No way, I wouldn't be up for it. I'd be like, all right, right now, I'm not. I can't go on this life.
Strength is strength, brother.
Yeah. Every day I thank him because even with everything I said, the perspective I have about people is different because of him. Not judging books by the cover, not because wherever your orientation is, not because wherever color you are, not because of what you believe in religiously or personally. Who are you as a person as well? we're in people now because of him. And every day I wake up and he's part of my prayers. I thank him. His ashes are with my grandmother's at Natural Harbor. I'm fortunate enough to have a job. I have to drive past it every day. If I get to say hello to him and her every time I come home. And no, like I would go into support for him too, because trust believe me, his friends called me now for the advice they would have got from him. Because they know that whatever he told me, Rodney, that conversation we had about us doing this podcast, trust and believe that's the same conversation he would have gave you. Everything I told you, he would have told you the same deal.
Yeah.
He would charge you, but he would have told you the same thing. But yeah, no, I think about him every day. He's just nowhere in his house where I don't have a picture of him. In my office, he right in my computer. I go out there. My lovely girlfriend, shout out to her about her. I don't know what I would have done when this had happened. I have a great mural that she made for me based off him out there. I have a car, he's in the office. He's a screensaver on my work computer. Because I know I wouldn't be here without him. I would be just like the rest of my other family members. I'd be in jail or drugged out or something. It wasn't my brother. I would end on this, and this is what got me through. I watched the election, Trump, Biden, of course. I think it was Joe Scarborough who said Biden said this about his son when he passed. The memory of that made me cry today and made me smile. And I heard that and I said, yeah, no matter what, that couldn't stand true regardless. So that's my distance.
Oh, hey, that's some strong ass 2 cents.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lie, dog. You hit some great points, brother.
Thank
And I mean, it's hey man, we all got stories, and I'm just happy to have a platform where we tell it.